Yeah, 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 yeah.
It's weird. A lot of mainstream views these days make me feel conservative. In all actuality, I'm not. I'm just reasonable and logical. To which Mia replied, that's the story of many. So many people have become conservative, but their views would have been considered moderately left-wing less than 10 years ago. The reason why this stood out to me is because it reminded me of all of the videos that I've been seeing recently on YouTube.
It's crazy how this movement is growing. Firstly, shout out the person who let me react to this video. Make sure you subscribe to their channel. I'm gonna put the link to the video in the description. But anyways, this video is titled "Why Are People Leaving the Political Left?" Because I've noticed a lot of people leaving, and let's just get into this, man.
Where people are sharing their stories about how they left the left and became more conservative. And what I found really interesting is that a lot of the people in these videos were very young. So there's two reasons as to why this struck my curiosity. So the first is that young people are typically the most liberal. So it was very weird for me to see them becoming more conservative. And the second reason is that when I watched their videos and I listened to them discuss their views and their perspectives, they didn't sound conservative. They sounded very liberal still. So it kind of got me curious as to why they don't feel as though they can identify with the left when many of their views that they were expressing in the video have always traditionally been understood as being from the left. And so that's what this video is going to be today.
Some people will probably say my views are very left. I'm just very logical. Like I have very logical views. I think, and I'm a Christian, so I guess I'm in the middle. Some people say I'm conservative. Some people say I'm liberal. Like, I don't know. I just have logical views. But the reason people are leaving the left is because one side is just it's too far. And yeah.
Going to be doing a deep dive and sharing with you my theory as to why people are suddenly becoming conservative. And within this video, I will be referring to the left as the progressives, and I will be referring to the right as the conservatives. So to understand how we got here, we first need to understand the temperament of progressives. Now, in my personal opinion, I do not believe that progressives are inherently bad. In fact, I think that it's healthy for a society to have the two perspectives. Maybe I'm young and naive, or maybe just idealistic, but contrary to what a lot of people on the far right say, or what a lot of people on the far left say, I do actually believe the left and the right can coexist. Many of us have heard about this culture war that's happening at the moment between the left and the right. Now, many portray it as though it's a fight between the left and the right, but from my observations, I honestly think it's more so about extremism than it is about the left and the right. Because
that's facts, man. It's a lot of extremism. It's a lot of, if you don't support 100% of this, you're evil, you're getting canceled. And my thing is like, why? Why are people getting fully canceled from working if they have one belief? And why is every take so extreme now? Like, it doesn't have to be super extreme. It's like people want to fight. You're looking for an argument, and I just don't understand it.
Yes, the far right and the far left detest each other. In fact, they actively want to destroy each other because in their worldview, there is no way that they can coexist. But not everybody is far right and not everybody is far left. In fact, I would argue that most people are moderates. Most people would probably align themselves as being moderately conservative or moderately liberal or center left or center right, however you want to call it. And these two sides, from my observations, get along just fine. People who are closer to the center and more moderate in their views, center left people and center right people, are able to get along just fine. Many of my viewers, in fact, are a combination of these two sides. Many of you are moderate conservatives, many of you are center left, and yet here you are, together in the same space. Of course, people on the center left and the center right still have their own fair share of disagreements, but for the most part, they're still able to see eye to eye on many issues. And this is why I don't buy the narrative that the culture war is about the left and the right. The culture war is actually about the far left and the far right, and that's because they are the loudest voices. My God, they're so loud. The problem with the far left and the far right is that they're both the extreme ends of both perspectives, and they're also very, very set in their ways, and therefore they're not open to hearing out their opposition. These are the two sides that are causing the polarizations, and in some cases radicalizing the people who were previously moderates. This is the reason why you should avoid echo chambers, because if you are in a left-wing echo chamber, it will make you detest everybody on the right, even though not everybody on the right is far right and extreme in their views. And this is also why you should avoid right-wing echo chambers, because because it will make you detest everybody on the left, even though not everybody on the left is woke. I do think for the most part, though, people are getting tired of these two extremes dominating the conversation. And to be honest, I think that's probably what the appeal of my channel has been. But anyway, enough of my opinion on the left and the right. Let's get back to the progressives and why some people are turning conservative. Now, as I said before, I don't believe that the progressives are inherently bad. In fact, I do think that we have them to thank for many of the equalities that we've achieved in today's modern society. However, progressives do have one big key flaw, and I'm going to illustrate to you this flaw with a crappy drawing so that you can kind of get a visual idea of what I'm trying to convey. The progressives' biggest flaw is that they view progress as being linear. To the progressive, progress looks like this. It's an upward straight line. So naturally, when you view progress as a straight linear line, you believe that every step you take is headed in the right direction. Louise Perry said something on Chris Williamson's podcast that struck me. She said that progress is actually more like this. It's a hill, which means that there is a final peak of progress, and if you keep on going, you will start to regress rather than progress. Now, I'm going to be using the LGBT as an example to
That makes perfect sense. I've never even thought about it like that, man. This young lady is pretty smart. Like, she said basically progression is like a slope or a half slope, I guess, a slope. So if you continue to go too far, instead of progress, you're going to regress. However, the progressive belief is that progression is linear. It's like you consistently go up and you would just always go up no matter what. But if you really think about it, that never makes sense, because in any aspect of life, there's a certain level of improvement you can get to. It's called a peak. But everything has a peak. There, you can't just continuously just always get better. Think of it in terms of fitness. Once you reach a certain level of fitness, if you continue to go too hard, your health is going to regress. Once you reach a certain level of knowledge, if you learn too much, I don't know if it goes like that with knowledge. But y'all get what I'm saying, man.
Illustrate why I think what Louise Perry was saying was true. So this is our progress hill, right? And so this is where we started. So where we started, we had very, very traditional conservative values. We believe that all men should be masculine, all girls should be feminine. We believe that everyone should be heterosexual, and if you weren't, we'd give you conversion therapies so that you could unlearn your homosexuality. But with the work of the progressive, society moved to here, where we believed that not all men had to be masculine. In fact, it was okay for some men to be more feminine and to wear makeup. And not all women had to be feminine. In fact, it was okay for some of them to be more masculine and like trucks and sports. We stopped giving gay conversion therapy, and we allowed same-sex attracted people to be together, as well as get married and adopt. Many would say that this would have been the peak of progress. But because progressives view progress as an upward linear line, they can't be satisfied, and they wanted to keep moving forward. And that's exactly what they did. And in the process, they started to take us back down the hill that they helped us to climb, and we began to regress rather than progress. Now the progressives say, if you're a boy who likes pink, glitter, and makeup, then you must really be a girl. And if you're a girl who hates dresses and skirts but likes sports and trucks, then
it is crazy, because as humans, we're so smart, but we're also so dumb. Like, think about it, man. She's right here. Like, just because you like rainbows and glitter and cupcakes doesn't mean that you're a girl. And just because you like trucks and action figures and sports doesn't mean you're a boy. Like, that's a logical take. That and me saying this is like right wing, super right radical stuff that I'm saying apparently. But in my head, I'm just like, I thought this was just normal, common, a common belief. But yeah, man, she's 100% right in this.
you must really be a boy. Because God forbid you don't adhere to the gender stereotypes that we once upheld when we were down here. They also say that sexuality is nothing more than a bigoted genital preference, which can be unlearned. Which sounds very, very similar to the homophobic rhetoric that we used to say when we were over here.
She's right.
I saw a video of a trans woman saying that if a lesbian is not attracted to penises, then it's likely due to trauma that she needs to work through.
Bro, this is so accurate. I've never even thought about it like this. Like, it's the same rhetoric. It's the different side of the same coin. It's the same rhetoric, bro. Just on a different term. Like, bro, I've never thought about it like that.
doesn't really sound very progressive in my personal opinion. So essentially the progressives have taken us from here up to here and then all the way back down again, so that we're right back to where we started. Now what's happening to the LGBT is not unique to just the LGBT. We're also starting to see this in conversations around race. We went from Martin Luther King's dream of people being judged by the content of their character and not by the color of their skin to everything is about race. In fact, I can make a lot of preconceptions about you purely because of your race. I can assume that you're privileged just because you're white. And I can also assume that you're an oppressed victim just because you're black. Your individual background...
I hate when people say that, bro. I hate it. I hate when I watch videos and they be like, well, you're a black, so you are a victim. No, I'm not. Stop saying that. Don't say that. And it's always like a white person saying that. And I'm like, that's racist. That is racist. Don't say that. That's not true. It's like it's backhanded racism. It's like what's different from a white liberal saying you are oppressed? It's because you're black, you're oppressed. Then in the 1950s, a white conservative saying, boy, you are oppressed. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's racism.
Then your individual circumstances don't matter to me. I know everything I need to know about you purely because of the color of your skin. The US civil rights movement fought to get rid of segregation, and now the progressives are fighting to bring it back by advocating for racially segregated dorms, as well as arguing that only those who come from said culture are allowed to enjoy said culture, because if you are outside of that culture and you want to take part in it, then you are culturally appropriating, even if you're not doing it in a demeaning or mocking way, because we're no longer allowed to share cultures with each other and integrate with each other. We all have to stay within our own specific boxes. Now, this key flaw with progressives, their inability to be satisfied and their desire to keep on moving even when it's causing society to regress, is what I believe is leading to the rise in the modern conservative. Now, the modern conservative isn't exactly like your traditional conservative. The traditional conservative idealizes the past and idealizes traditional values and norms and believes that we should go back to that time. Whereas the modern conservative is slightly different, because the modern conservative is a bit more liberal than your traditional conservative. The modern conservative idealizes the best of the past as well as the best of the present. So they typically have some traditional views along with some progressive views.
Yes. Am I a modern conservative? It's raining outside. I guess so, man. Because bro, I'm tired of hearing that. I am so tired of hearing you are oppressed, because I hate it. Like it boils my blood, bro. And she's right. Like, we're moving backwards. Segregated dorms, only all black graduations. That's all I can think of off the top of my head. But yeah, man, it's just not right. It shouldn't happen. Like, I am equal to you. You're literally saying I'm not equal to you when you have these things happen. You don't think it, but that's the truth.
The difference between the traditional conservative and the modern conservative, I would argue, is that they both idealize different points in history. So the traditional conservative, say, idealizes the late 1960s and how things were at that time. The modern conservative idealizes, say, 2010 and would like us to go back to how things were around that time. And so this is what I think we're seeing when we're seeing all these young people suddenly identifying as conservatives. They're not identifying as conservatives in the traditional sense, but they do want to conserve and maintain society where it was prior to a lot of the stuff that's happening now. So they are technically conservatives, because essentially all a conservative is someone who wants to maintain and conserve things, someone who doesn't want things to change. But of course, what they want to not change is more so how society was 10 years ago. So they are both still conservatives, they're just trying to conserve different time period. There's been many speculations about why progressives seem to not know when to stop with their progress. Some argue that it's because of money, because many of these progressive organizations...
I think it's because of money. Like, I think it's too much money into it for them to stop. Like, it's too much money. Why would they stop? They're making so much. They're balling now. They're millionaires now. Why would they stop?
Are government funded or funded through donations. And so when your job is to fight for equality and fix any perceived oppression, what do you do when you run out of inequality or oppression? you might be put into a situation where you might have to create and find new forms of oppression. And so this is the reason why we're seeing the goalpost of what is deemed oppressive or what is deemed as prejudice constantly moving. And some of these organizations are funded by public donations, and it's kind of hard to get people to donate if you don't make them feel passionate about something. And one of the best ways to do that is to invoke either guilt or anger. It does feel as though oppression is becoming a business, and I'll probably do a whole video on that at some point too. Many of you may have seen a diagram that Elon Musk posted on his Twitter, where he was showing the difference in how the scale of what is deemed left wing and right wing has changed over time. And many people related to the image that he showed. In fact, there's even a saying where people are saying, I didn't leave the left left me. Because they feel as though the view...
And that's the problem, man. It's too much money into the business now. Like, why is it that companies, organizations are super far left now? Why is it that clubs that are supposed to help communities are super far left? Why is it that? Why? It's too much bread. It's too much money into the game, man. It's a problem. It sucks to say that, but it's true. And it just sucks. This young lady is extremely intelligent.
that they have and the beliefs that they had that were traditionally left-wing have now suddenly become right-wing, because the left has gone so far to the left that people no longer view some of the things that were traditionally considered liberal as liberal views. And so that is my theory as to why people are suddenly becoming conservative. It's not that they're becoming traditional conservative. They're just trying to conserve how society was before we got a little bit kooky. I do think it's also really important to not become too obsessive with these labels of left wing and right wing, because to be honest with you, I think it is really sad that we are now living in a time where everything is viewed through the lens of politics. Now you can't even share an opinion without people attaching some kind of political affiliation to it.
Exactly, bro. She's making some good points, man. She's extremely intelligent. I'm gonna link the video in, but it's like everything is political now. If it's not this thing, it's that thing. If you say this, then you're canceled. If you say that, then you're canceled. You say this, then you're right. Like, bro, come on, man. And it's a big problem, but what can we do, man? All we can do is talk about it, learn, and grow together. But if you have any suggestions, comment down below, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.